Right there's the apple core they're finishing off. I'm trying to sift out this whole bin, get these bugs out of here. Nope, fell over. When I decided that I wanted to try my hand at gardening, one of the first things I did was to learn about composting. I knew that it would be an important part of the whole process and also take some time. After building our outdoor compost bin where all our food scraps would go, we purchased red wiggler worms, which are great for harvesting vermicompost, or what you could also call worm poo. It's a great natural and organic fertilizer for your garden. Maintaining a small worm bin is a pretty simple process. Just feed your worm babies once a week and every couple of months harvest their poo. But as you can see, vermicompost really just looks like healthy organic soil. It has no bad odor and just smells like a garden or forest. It's really my refreshing connection to nature. It was a bit of a learning curve to figure out the best method to harvest my worm poo over the years. I've tried out many different methods and even shared them in our videos a bit. The way that I'm harvesting them here has been the best way for me so far. Using that handmade sifter Nate made for me has been a game changer. I can sift out large pieces of compost and my worms to add back to the worm bin. Then I can take that beautiful compost and add it to my garden. I especially love to do this when I'm planting new seeds. I create a bed of homemade fertilizer for them to rest in. Right now is spring planting season here in Texas. I've tried out many different crops to experiment with. Some have turned out really well and some not so good. I think you just have to learn how to garden by doing it. Figure out what grows best in your area and pick the things you actually like to eat. Then give it a go. Hot peppers and herbs have done really well in my area. And I have given away lots of herbs to neighbors and even bartered with our local farmers market for them. It was so cool to see my herbs being sold there and to get some free produce in return. I love how my garden has also given me opportunities to connect with my local community here. It has actually been one of the biggest attractions around here for friendly neighborhood conversations. And this is, of course, besides all the rave from our neighbors of the outdoor projects Nate has been working on. After I've planted my seeds, then I cover them up with another layer of my vermicompost. And then they finally get a thin layer of soil from the garden beds. Not too much so they can feel the sunshine and begin to sprout into little seedlings. I have to say though that I've not had any luck growing spinach here. I'm not sure if it's too warm here or what. Sometimes I try growing a crop several times, and if it's not successful, then I stop growing it and spend my energy on what I know will grow. During the last growing season, I was really successful, to my surprise, growing Korean melons. Remember how we had to build these garden cages here to keep the squirrels out of the garden and from taking my melons? I ended up harvesting a lot of melons and decided to save some of the seeds from them to see if I could regrow them. And again, to my surprise, they actually grew. I've also seen a lot of success growing different varieties of lettuce, salad mix, and kale. But if the weather gets too hot, they don't do as well. I also tried to save the Japanese watermelon seeds, but that was unsuccessful. And I actually never was able to grow any Japanese mini watermelons. I wanted to show you how I refill my worm bin after I've harvested half of it. You can use the same method if you harvest your whole bin and start from scratch. I've also done that. The first layer I add is packaging paper. This is usually from my Amazon orders. You can also use cardboard. This creates a nice base at the bottom. Then I add a bit of water to make it a little moist, but not too much. Then I add more paper, a layer of leaves, and a bit more water. Just a small sprinkle is all you need. To give your worm babies a soft bed to lie in, add a layer of compost. I'm using organic mushroom compost, which you can find at your local garden store. Regular organic compost will do as well. I had some leftover seed starting mix, so I threw that in there too. Then, to help the worms grind the food, I add some eggshells. These are a bit large, so next time I'd grind them in my Vitamix. I'm sure you could use a regular blender as well. And coffee grinds are really great for worms to grind their food. Pun totally intended. Here I'm adding some that I put in the freezer. When I feed my worms, I'm usually taking out scraps from my freezer that I saved for them. That way, when it melts in the bin, it creates a bit of moisture for them and you don't have to add extra water to it. I love this method. Then I add another layer of the compost. This reminds me of the lasagna layering method we used for our outdoor compost bin. The final step, which I consider their covering or blanket, is leaves.
I'm making some doors for the garage here. Now, I'm gonna probably end up rebuilding these later differently, but I just want to kind of get something up there. I put the piece of plywood all over on it, on that frame, and I'm gonna do the same with this here. I'm gonna trim it out to make it look like a barn door. And that's just gonna be temporary because I need to take this other garage door off in the inside. So I need something to kind of cover the door. And also I wanna see how it looks. And I can try some trim ideas on there just to kind of see how it looks. Okay, I just screwed these two boards together. As you can see, there's these little spacers, I'm gonna call them, right here, 1/4 inch gap between there, and then I screwed them together this way. So that way I can keep these boards very level, and I'm gonna try to lift it up there and then maybe level it out, put the hinges on. Once the hinges are in place, then I can take the hinges back off and then take this thing back down, remove this, and then put one board back up at a time now that the screws will be piloted into a place where it should be good, hopefully. These are the temporary doors I built. I put this little spacer in between there and screwed them together. Hopefully I can level it out, throw some hinges on it, and then later I'll come back and put trim on. I might just set it in there and see how it looks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way they're turning out so far.
Wow, look at that, huh?
Something like that. Okay, that's temporarily on there. You can see the gaps around the outside are not very good, but that's because the garage is uneven. The doors should be pretty level right now. I will be adjusting that trim later, but at least I got something I could throw up temporarily. And then eventually we'll have a nice door on there with some good trim and everything, and it'll look great. Okay, project's going well. There is what it looked like as of this morning. Primed it last night. These are pieces of cedar that were left over from trimmer on the windows. I changed all the trimmer on the windows to make it much better, as you can see right here. Thick, strong. So this was left over, and that's kind of the layout I'm envisioned. I just tacked it on there lightly with some small nails from the nail gun. I want to eventually turn the top into a piece of glass, so it'll have a lot of good lighting coming in, and then I think I'm going to put at least one of these boards, a batten, whatever you call it, crossed here. So I don't know if I'll do an X or just one. Okay, so I got all these tacked on there. I think I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, this is temporary because I want to come back another day and redo it. I want to actually have boards, a bunch of strips going up and down, kind of like beadboard, different. Right now I'm just kind of touching up primer on these painted boards and all that, so make it look nice. This is to protect my neck and everything from the sun. I built these 2 doors. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to get them put in with the hinges and all that right now. And then I can take it off. Right now I have them screwed together so they don't sink in one side, and you know, we'll see. They might sink anyways, but so I got a little spacer in between them, and then I screwed them together from the inside. So now I'm gonna try to see if I can put it up there, put some hinges on it. And again, this is temporary. I'm gonna take it apart later and make it really nice. All right, I took the boards apart. They were screwed together. So hopefully I can line up these hinges and we'll see if it all lays good.
Hey there, we'd love for you to check out our newly designed website at journeydowntheroad.com. You can easily search for whatever category or topic you're interested in and read more about our little pine cottage. Get the inside scoop about our story and how we've lived simply in small spaces and how you can too. See how we've also built a handmade home with reclaimed and salvaged materials. Thanks for joining us on this journey.